This old guy DIY video is back at you with another Tinderella truck story. So we've got a 2006 Chevrolet Tahoe Z71 trim level, $7,200, located in Indiana. So it is pretty steep price, even in this market. It was posted 12 days ago. It's surprising if it was in this good of condition that it would still be listed, 12 days later. Looking at the pictures, it looks like very minimal, if any, rust. Now, some aftermarket parts, pretty good interior. So everything looks good, and the most attractive thing here is that it is listed as having less than 115,000 miles on it. So although the price is pretty steep, if this is actually a rust-free or a minimal rust SUV in Indiana with only 115,000 miles after whatever that is, close to 15 years of ownership, it might just be worth that premium price tag. Unfortunately, once we take this vehicle to EpicVin, we are told a completely different story than what is listed. So when we look at the ownership history, we see that the first owner had a personal lease until 85,000 miles. They used it about 5 years. The second owner then had it until 231,000 miles. So I'm no mathematician, but I do think that 231,000 miles is more than 115,000 miles as advertised. Scrolling down to see if maybe there was an issue or something like that, we can see actually it had very regular maintenance all the way recorded up to that 230,000 mile mark. You can see exactly all of these service records. So it's most likely that the person who is selling it is lying. In this case, I didn't want to, dismiss the fact that there may be a story that I am not aware of yet. So I did call up the seller because, for 230,000 miles, this is an amazing cosmetic condition. And maybe it was the case that they actually just had a new engine and a new transmission. It's not actually 115,000 miles, but maybe it's 115,000 miles on the drivetrain. So the guy did have his number listed here. I called him up. I asked him, what the story was on the truck. He said that he's owned it for about half a year, which checks out with what we see with the VIN. I asked him about the mileage. He said, "Oh yeah, it's 115,000 original miles." And I told him I looked up the VIN and it says that it had 230,000. And initially he acted surprised. "Oh, I didn't know that. Could you send it to me?" "Yeah, of course. I'll send it over. What's your email?" And then as we kept talking, about some of it, he's telling me he replaced all these parts. It's the best truck ever. And then all of a sudden he goes, "Oh yeah, I think actually it did have 230,000 miles. I think the shop was able to refresh it and then set the odometer at 130 or 115, which is not something that shops should do. I'm pretty sure that's illegal." So at this point, I was no longer interested. It looks nice, but the story is shoddy. Again, stay safe out there. Make sure you're checking EpicVin, doing your VIN checkup. There are a lot of people that are willing to lie right to your face about these vehicles.